A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark, chapter 1, verses 29 to 39. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. Directly on leaving the meeting place, they came to Simon and Andrew's house, accompanied by James and John. Simon's mother-in-law was sick in bed, burning up with fever. They told Jesus. He went to her, took her hand, and raised her up. No sooner had the fever left than she was up fixing dinner for them. That evening, after the sun was down, they brought sick and evil-afflicted people to him. The whole city lined up at his door. He cured their sick bodies and tormented spirits. Because the demons knew his true identity, he didn't let them say a word. While it was still night, way before dawn, he got up and went out to a secluded spot and prayed. Simon and those with him went looking for him. They found him and said, "Everybody is looking for you." Jesus said, "Let us go to the rest of the villages so I can preach there also. This is why I have come." He went to their meeting places all through Galilee, preaching and throwing out demons. The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 1, verses 29 to 39. Jesus walks into Peter's house and heals the mother-in-law who had a fever. It was not just any house, but it was the house of Peter. The house of Peter in the Gospels has a symbolic meaning. It represents the Christian community. It is the church. In that house, there is a woman who is sick. The church is the new Israel, the woman. It is this church that is sick, and Jesus wants to cure. Once he heals the church, he comes out of the house of Peter to the outside world who were waiting for him, and he meets with the sick humanity, heals them of their physical and emotional illnesses. Today, as we read and reflect on the gospel, allow the Lord to walk into our lives and let him know of our infirmities. When we feel lethargic and without charisma, when we do not want to get out of the comforts of our beds and refuse to care for the needs of the church, we are in need of healing. Remember the call of Pope Francis to the young people during the World Youth Day in Panama to denounce our sofa culture, to reach out to our brothers and sisters in need. Only when we are healed of our laziness and sluggishness, we, the church, can heal this wounded world. Our world still stands in need of healing, liberation from the forces of evil. Another important theme of the gospel today is a huge lesson on prayer. Jesus begins his day with prayer. And prayer is not a simple gesture of a sign of the cross that we do before a meal or before we start a job. Of course, it's a nice gesture because it reminds us that we are disciples of Christ. Morning prayer means seeing with the Lord the day that awaits us and is about to begin. It means listening to him how we have to live this day, and maybe we should tell him, "Today I am going to meet my boss who is a rude guy, who is always nervous, and I will listen to the Lord how I have to behave if I want to be a disciple of Christ, even if my instinct tells me that I have to answer him back because he deserves it. I have to listen to what the Lord tells me. If I don't pray, then I behave like everyone else and not as a disciple of Christ."